Hello, and happy holidays. So I was thinking of doing something super duper festive, like, I don't know, brandy tasting or something, but then I thought of something even better. You see, one of the things I tend to buy on site is well-presented, reasonably priced Irish whiskey, because there just kind of isn't anything else like it out there, and I just really love the style when it's done right. Another thing I tend to buy, and it's sort of a similar situation, used to be a couple of distilleries, now there's lots of distilleries, but the new ones are kind of still pretty youngish, is the Scottish Lowlands. Scottish Highlands. If I see this stuff also like well presented and at a reasonable price, I tend to grab this too. And I got both these two bottles. And yeah, those are the situations. You have a blended malt whiskey from the Lowlands, no age statement, and you have a 10-year-old single malt whiskey from Ireland. But there's something in common between these two. Both of these were finished in what they are calling Cuvée Casks. Now, you may ask, what the hell is a Cuvée cask? Cuvée is a French word. It means very, very broadly something like selection or batch. It's a wine term, and it's especially a wine term you tend to see in Champagne, in up there in far northeast France. And my suspicion is that when they say Cuvée casks, they're talking about Champagne cask. In fact, the Bushmills kind of gives this away. What does it say? So, maturing first in oloroso, sherry, and bourbon before finishing in Cuvée casks used for the first fermentation of great sparkling wine. That's pretty much saying, as far as they can say, like, this is Champagne cask. So why can't they just call them Champagne casks? Well, let's talk about Champagne for a second. This is a Champagne, it's Lallier. And so there's a couple of reasons why you couldn't call an ex-Champagne cask an ex-Champagne cask. One is because the Champagne region is just incredibly protective of that name. Like, you will not see champagne vinegar in your grocery store anymore because they want to protect that protected term. Another reason is, to some extent, ex-Champagne cask is a contradiction in terms, because the very nature of making champagne, it's not champagne unless it's had its secondary fermentation in bottle. That is what gives it, allows it to have that name. Now, before that, you start with still wines, right? Then it goes into the bottle, and you add some sugar and some yeasts, and you get some bubbles. But before then, you do have still wines, which could and often does involve oak aging. But then you really have to ask, well, what the heck kind of casks are they even talking about here? Because so there's really two things that you could use oak for with your base wines before you make those base wines into champagne. One is fermentation, and that's pretty common, right? You'll see it with Krug, with Taittinger. Bunch of old houses will ferment in oak. And you'll also see aging in, particularly extended aging with reserve stock in oak casks. That happens. It's more common to do it in steel these days, but it does happen. Here's the thing, though. Those casks used for aging, particularly reserve stock, when they're still done in oak, they tend to be really, really large, those huge foeders, which you cannot use for whiskey. Scotch at least. I don't know about Ireland. I have to double-check the law. And also, those oak casks used for fermentation, they tend to be neutral oak. They want the oxygen exchange that wood allows, but they don't want... They basically make sure all the oakiness has been sucked out of those barrels before they put their base wine into it for fermentation. Now, you do see some new oaky stuff showing up in Champagne, particularly since like maybe the 90s or so, but it's still pretty much a rare thing. You'll still see it in Villicar, a couple of houses will do that, but it's pretty darn rare. And I don't think you really see it at scale. So you have to sort of ask, where the hell are they getting these casks and what are they doing to them? I'm going to put my champagne away. I think you have to assume what this whiskey is going into is basically STR casks, so dechar rechars of those kind of classic fermentation barrels used in champagne. They're actually pretty small barrels, like 200 liters, 205, something in that region. A little bit smaller than bourbon barrels. But I'm guessing is they got a hold of, both these folks got a hold of some, old fermentation barrels that have been cycled out, and they just dechar recharred the things and whammo Cuvée Casks. So I'm guessing that's the story on this. But I just thought it would be a fun head-to-head to do, and also I just love this style, so I want to see if these are good. I really want these to be good. All right, let's try them. What have we got first? The Epicurean Glasgow edition. There's been a couple of these. This again is the 2023, and it's the ex-Cuvée cask finish, 5,100 bottles, cask strength of 50.4%. And yeah, so this is one of the Douglas Laing regional malts. It's one of their special bottles. The original Epicurean, it didn't win on points when I did that tasting initially, but it was kind of my personal, favorite of the bunch, just because it's rare to get really well presented Lowland whiskey. So I'm eager to see how this is. No age statement on this bad boy, but it's also not very expensive. Let's see what we got. We're not on the ballpark of classic Lowland Scotch here. We're getting apples, pears, oatmeal, honey, kind of as expected, but there's also, you might expect a winey touch to this, but really it's almost more beery than wine. It smells a little bit like a Belgian triple that someone forgot to add hops to. That's kind of the vibe on this. It's kind of yeasty, bready, but more beery than really bready. Marzipan, cinnamon toast crunch, lemon peel, a little bit of a tamarind thing. And tropical fruit, which is not a note unheard of on Lowland whiskey, or my God, like Ireland, by any means. But it's a little bit of a different vibe of tropical fruit than those. This is, it's not so much like pineapple-y. This is more like kiwi, mango. There's some key lime. It's interesting. So part of another reason I wanted to buy these is because I've been curious about the use of white wine casks in whiskey making. I'm really iffy about red wine. White wine is a different kind of thing, and it's less common just because less white wine is aged in oak. There's much more of a vibe for fresher, more vibrant, unoaked white wine these days. So But I'm curious to see how it works. Oh, and there's a little bit of vanilla, too. Vanilla. How about that? On the palate. Oh. Fun. Divisive. There are a lot of people, especially like kind of traditionalist malt fans, that are really going to hate this. And I'm not talking about the people who just want to drink like 43% Macallan or something. I'm talking about the people who like who absolutely chase, the cask strength Ardbegs or whatever. Like, this is going to scare the crap out of them because, like, there's a sour element in mango. There's like a mango element to this, but like a sour mango. It really tastes like ripe, slightly sour mango slices covered in like vanilla ice cream and then smothered in campfire ash. There's an ashy mango kind of thing going on here. And that beer note again, that kind of like hopless triple thing. Nutty, almond, oatmeal, apricot, more mango, kiwi, dried flowers, kind of a spicy honey thing, like you put a little bit of like a chili powder into your honey. I'm looking for apple pear stuff, but it's more of like a quince thing on the palate. Interesting. I kind of dig this, but here's the thing. It's hard to think of who else would. Because malt fans are going to... the vast majority of malt fans are not going to like this. Because it doesn't behave like a traditional malt. It's got that kind of sour, slightly astringent mango thing running through it. But like, would brandy fans like this? Would Grappa, Pomace Brandy, Mar fans like this? I don't really think so. I think it's too much like a malt. Try before you buy. Try before you buy on this. But I do kind of like it. Let's see if it collapses with water, as finished whiskeys tend to do. Actually, that's probably going to be it, right? Because it's 50%. Let's leave it there. Okay, moving on to the Bushmills. So I did get curious. I started looking through the Diageo portfolio, trying to figure out, well, does Diageo own any champagne houses? And what I completely forgotten is that Bushmills actually got traded to Proximo Spirits from Diageo a couple of years ago. Proximo is the Jose Cuervo people. So they got traded so that Diageo could get Don Julio and things. And yeah, you deserve better, Bushmills. You deserve better treatment than these guys. This is the Bushmills Causeway Collection. Proximo, so far as I know, doesn't own any champagne producers. Causeway Collection, 10-year-old, 2021, German exclusive release. How did I get a hold of this? Irish single malt whiskey finished in Cuvée Casks. Read, champagne-based wine casks. Distilled December 2010, recast in March 2019, and finally bottled in 2021. Cask strength, non-chill filtered. Weirdly enough, I don't think the Epicurean mentions the non-chill filtered thing. They do mention the cask strength thing. Oh well. Anyways, so I am a little bit of a Bushmills fan. I like a bunch of their stuff. Just begs for better presentation. Just needs it. This is one of the few bottlings I've seen that actually, cask strength, non-chill filtered. Yes, this is what this needs because it's light. It's a little bit of a lighter style. 54.8, by the way. I mean, I say lighter style, but it's not that light on the nose. I mean, initial impression, it smells like a smashed Snickers bar. So nuts, chocolate, caramel, also white pepper, vanilla, campfire ash again. Prune, there is some sherry influence on this. Oh, did I mention that? Bourbon cask and oloroso before the finish. But then you get that kind of like beery Belgian triple note. There's a little bit of like a Framboise cognac thing going on here too, like that kind of like caramel covered raisins thing. English breakfast tea. I know this is Ireland, so maybe that's offensive. Well, no, it's Northern Ireland, isn't it? And they're still part of the UK. Whatever. It's English. It smells like English breakfast tea. Mixed flowers, lemon peel. It's definitely like woodier. It's less grainy, especially than the Epicurean. But again, that's kind of the Bushmill style. It tends to be a little bit more spirity in style. On the palate, ooh. Also fun. Also very, very divisive. So initially, this kicks off in the front of the palate as a very obvious classical sherried kind of whiskey. There's like a Mars bar, Snickers, s'mores kind of thing up front. But then as you get into the mid palate and turn into the finish, it turns into that kind of mango-tripel note. And almost like an almond paste thing. Yeah. Very different. Pepper, vanilla, brioche with honey on it. Lots of dried fruit, figs, prunes, raisins, caramel. Flowers, kind of an afternoon tea note with milk and a couple of cubes. Milk chocolate, and then wham, it just twists and turns into that finish. There's some rocks going on too. There's some minerality. Fun. Extremely different. Again, a lot of people are going to hate this whiskey. A lot of people are going to hate this whiskey. So do not look at my scores, which aren't going to be that bad, and see these on closeout or whatever and run out and buy them. Like, listen to what I am telling you. These are very divisive flavor profiles, and I feel like they're kind of in a no man's land, but I'm still kind of digging them. Couple squirts. Oh, yeah, it's totally got like a almondy orgeat kind of thing happening. 3. Let's do 3.5. And I'm going to stop myself there. All right. Back to the Epicurean. I'll have some more water. I mean, this is, it's going to be tough to score these and really evaluate these in any way. Because it's hard to figure out what kind of spirit is this. I mean, put it this: there's this old classical debate between Plato and Aristotle, right? You read Plato, Book 7, Republic, and and you have the good in general. To agathon, and that is like the good beyond being that sort of empowers everything and makes everything work and the whole system go. And then you go and you read Aristotle and there's the argument that the idea of a good in general is, you know, nonsense and indefensible. You have to talk about goodness in specific instances, like a good pair of shoes, a good doctor, a good thief. Like, if there has to be context to this term. And yeah, I feel myself torn with these whiskeys because, like, I kind of want to be Aristotelian about them and judge them according to the category or the sort of thing that they are. But I don't know what that is. And it makes them kind of hard to talk about. Sorry, I will stop babbling. Republic Book 7, Nicomachean Ethics Book 1, if I remember correctly. All right. Back to the Glasgow edition Epicurean. It feels a little bit dumbed down, but it's dumbed down to something fun. It smells like a lemon peel mango oatmeal. Yeah, the mango thing is really prominent on this. It's not. I don't get mango a whole lot on champagne, I have to tell you. So it's a little bit of a surprise to see it here. Interesting. I might have liked this more without water. On the palate. On the palate, it's just a hair bit better with water. So I guess it balances out. The nose loses a little, the palate picks a little up. It's a little bit more coherent. Weird. It's like mango, lemon peel, ash, and like creme brulee. And it's, yeah, but somehow it works for me though. Yeah, again, pay attention to the score, but pay attention also to what I'm saying. Traditional malt fans, those of y'all who like to run out and buy your Kleinliches and your Tamdus and your Lefroyg's, and there's a very, very good chance you will hate this bottle. So be aware of that. But I'm still going to give this an 85. And which makes it kind of a good deal. This is not expensive stuff. So if you were adventurous, you were willing to take the risk, go for it. I mean, 85 points. Yeah, that's all I know what to do with that. All right, on to the Bushmills. All right, let's see what happens with this. On the nose. Ooh, fun. The nose is like super duper tropical now, and now I'm getting pineapple. Really like pineapple jam on this. Mango, toasted marshmallow, s'more, really. It's actually quite pretty. Okay, all right. On the palate. The thing is, I'm just waiting for like the angry comment down below after I score these saying, I just bought this bottle and it sucks. It's a 29 out of 100. What is wrong with you? Unsubscribe. I'm waiting for that moment because it's just a divisive profile. With water, this integrates a little bit more nicely. It's like an almondy, mango-y Snickers bar or something with some black pepper on it. But yeah, there's something here. It's not for everyone, not by any stretch, but I think there's something here. I think both these kind of in their own weird way, they sort of work. Which is better? Bushmills is better. How much better? Am I at 85 plus, or am I at an 86? I'll give this an 86. I'll do it. Screw it. 86 points for this Bushmills Causeway Collection, 10-year-old, finished in Cuvée Casks. Post your angry comments down below. 85 points for the Epicurean, 86 for the Bushmills. Thanks for watching, and cheers.